All right, we're about to go live on Facebook talking about Pluto entering Aquarius, which is happening literally in 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Was that?
It's happening in 2 minutes
Okay.
for us. But if you're watching the recording, it'll have happened. So let me minimize my screen so that I could see if we have any comments. Okay. And we're going to be sharing some of our screens and things like that because there's a lot to talk about and there's different aspects to look at. So let me make sure we're live on Facebook. I believe we are.
That,
Yeah, it's happening in 2 minutes. Let me mute myself. Hold on a minute. All right. So I think first we can talk about what Pluto is and does in
yeah.
general. The
Okay.
general energy of Pluto.
Mhm.
And I'll preface this by saying, so if you're just joining or if you haven't heard anything about this, or whispers of it, Pluto is moving from Capricorn into Aquarius. So when Pluto changed signs, it's a big deal because Pluto moves so slowly. So I call him I just call him he, whatever. He's a
Yeah.
generational planet. So that means that if someone says, "Oh, well, I have Pluto in Scorpio," well, there's like a millions of people who have the same thing. So when something happens to someone in a generation, it's likely to happen to other people around their age. So Pluto, generational planet, slow mover. When he shift signs, it's different than like when Mercury does because Mercury moves so quickly. That's why astrologers are nerding out over this event. So you want to start with just what Pluto is to you and your observation and how you see it work with people?
Okay. Yeah. So Pluto is like God of the underworld. So it's very much in the hidden part, the subconscious part of humanity, like the emotional desire. It's like somebody who's crazy focused on one thing, just focused on one thing, and it also Pluto is known in the mythology to be abusive in a certain way to his wife, Persephone. So it's like there's a certain abuse factor to it. There's a repression, there's suppression, there's a it's about other people. It's not necessarily about self. It's externalized planet, and also Aquarius is externalized too. It's just about everything happening outside of yourself. But it's like Pluto is known for being dark. It's known for being revealing truth and light from the darkness, transformation. Um, let's see. When I read Pluto, I usually read it from a solar astrology perspective. So I see Pluto from the perspective of the sun. So that's how that way it's not so much a generational planet only. It has more depth and quality to it. You
Mhm.
can see like, oh yeah, another thing I left out about Pluto, it also deals with receiving somebody else's wealth or debt or inheritance or stuff
Yep.
like that.
Other people's money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so for me, I'm a pretty Plutonian person. So
Yeah.
I feel it pretty strongly when Pluto is doing stuff. Because I have a lot of Scorpio in me, and Scorpio is anciently ruled by Pluto, and I really resonate with that more so than it being ruled by Mars personally.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of both. But so for me personally, that looks like when someone's Plutonian, it typically they've gone through various like deaths and rebirths. We're really resilient because of that. We've stood the test of time. We've stood a million tests. For me, it was a lot of like physical things, mental things that I had to work through, and they were hard. I'm talking close to physical death multiple times in my life from
Yep.
illness. But I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a trying energy. That's why as astrologers, when we see Pluto making a harsh aspect to like a personal planet, we're kind of like, ooh,
Yeah.
but we see the potential. You know what I mean? We don't just say, be afraid. We go like, okay, we acknowledge this is intense, but here's how to work with it,
Mhm.
rather than not engage in the transformation because Pluto's transformation. And like I say, all astrologers are like, oh, this planet's transformational. They all are, right? But
Yeah,
when I say transformation for Pluto, that is the key word for Pluto.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Like I
yeah,
was actually I was always taught that like Pluto is the soul contract itself. So if you can read it from a solar perspective, you can see what the person's life, entire life is about. So it's like, and also Pluto's the only planet that breaks the rules. It doesn't go with the regular ecliptic of the sun. You like the sun's like right here, everything goes around the sun. But
yeah,
Pluto's the only one that goes like over and around and under.
right,
So like, and it went under the horizon in 2019 with the Pluto Saturn conjunction, and that's what brought about COVID and everything because Pluto went back into the underworld. So
right.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really cool planet.
That too. We don't just look at what sign it's in because that could be very general, more worldly, world events, but we look at, what also what it touches. I mean, there's a lot of things you could look at. And so I actually have the chart for Pluto entering Aquarius. Let's pop that up real quick and I'll recast some charts too, but let's just go here. All right, let me know if you could see. I think you could see my screen. Let me check over on Facebook. Yeah, okay. So this is just simply Pluto entering Aquarius. So this is Aquarius, this is Capricorn. Pluto is at 0 degrees. All right. Um, and right off the bat, there's an opposition to Mars. So
Yep.
that could be really, really volatile.
Yeah, we've seen that in the election. Those are the Capricorn, so it's going to be different now. Like the opposition is going to change. It's going to be about freedom. It's going to be a lot of huge shifts that are about to jump off like in the next 3 months, really.
Yeah. Because again, we don't just look at this one thing, which is enough as it is. We look at, oh, okay, well, look at that. Oh, okay, well, there's a lot of ways you could go. I mean, look at all the aspects, but I really like looking at the event chart and just to see the general energy of what else is happening, because that's important too. You could look at Pluto moving into Aquarius in different, you know, eras, but nothing is going to be exactly the same. So, although the general theme will be there about, okay, Pluto moves into Aquarius, we're working with other stuff too that past centuries did not. So do you want to pull up? So, what chart? You have the chart of
United States.
United States. Okay, let me make sure you could screen share. Okay, let me know if you could. I'll stop my share. And let me know if you're able to pull yours, share yours.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking to see if you're alive.
Ooh, it's me. Stop
Yeah.
stalking me. Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, here it is. So,
All right. Do you want to set this up about what this is for people who have no idea there's a United States chart?
yeah, that's the chart of the United States, Sagittarius rising, Sun and Cancer.
Meaning
Yeah, and
the signing of the declaration, right?
yep, sign of declaration. Like this is these are the transits. So this is where the planets are right now in the sky, and this is where they were when the Declaration of Independence was signed. So
Hmm.
like the Pluto is like right on top of the other Pluto, but it's moved on to the next sign. So, huh? I didn't even think about that. But now the Pluto of America is actually in the 12th house of this Pluto.
Hmm.
Huh? That's gonna be very interesting to see.
Oh yeah, I think Pluto does. It's interesting to be in the in a 12th house of any at all because the 12th and the 8th are a little bit alike, a little bit alike. There's a certain sort of darkness, and I don't mean that in a negative way, just a certain sort of subconscious tapping in.
Yeah, I feel like just because Pluto's uh the transit Pluto has the United States Pluto in the 12th. I feel like there's a lot of suppressed things that are about to be pulled out from the darkness of things like slavery and
Hmm.
women's suffrage and all that. All that's going to be brought back. And it's going to be like there's going to be like a big change involving all that stuff. Oh, something's happened to my camera. Okay, back. All right. But yeah, I think all those shadows of America are going to come up and be revealed by Pluto in the next. It's really going to start when those eclipses hit in March of 25.
And would you say that though there is a little bit of like a release from like the vice grip because America's sun is in Cancer and now it there's not that opposition the transit opposition? I mean, do you think that it is a little bit of relief, although we have some intense things coming up? I feel like there
Um,
is
I,
a breather.
I feel like there's better times coming for the United States for
Hmm.
sure, but it's not gonna happen right away. It's gonna be like a lot of. That's kind of the reason why I thought that Trump was gonna win because like this, I can imagine like Kamala Harris being president with this kind of change happening.
Right.
She's more like status quo and like keeping things how they were.
Hmm.
This is like
Yeah.
a radical change that's about
Yeah.
to come. As far as like, I can definitely see the tariffs happening. Um, let's see. So, Sun is in Cancer, and then let's see. Um, so this is going into America's eighth house from the Sun. So Pluto's in the eighth house from the Sun. So it's kind of doing what it would naturally be doing.
Yeah, Pluto likes the eighth house, man.
Yeah,
That's it's the whole vibe, whole territory.
it's gonna. The shadow side of America is about to come out. We're gonna see not only America, the entire world. The shadow side.
Hmm.
That's the first thing you're gonna see. It's not gonna happen right away. It's gonna see everything's gonna seem like it's okay, but then there's gonna be something that's gonna show up that's gonna be unexpected. Like, okay, this is like interesting. Let's talk about this. But everybody, it's gonna be just going on in the background. But then all of a sudden, boom, it's bigger than you thought it was gonna be. Oh shit,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
dark side comes out.
Yep.
It's gonna be about light versus dark. It's gonna be about the higher versus the lower, because that's what Aquarius rules. But it's gonna be about externalized things like externalized things involving society, social groups, very tribal. I've heard it described as tribal.
Mm. Hmm.
Let's see. Hmm. The debt is definitely going to come up. Like I could see like with Elon Musk and them being over the government oversight and auditing the government. I feel like that's going to be a huge Pluto in the eighth of America thing. Let's see what else. Um, so yeah, the thing I'm getting is like there's going to be a lot of trauma that's going to be brought up. The trauma of the ancestors or trauma of even trauma of COVID and a lot of things that had to do with that. That's going to be revealed. The things that are being suppressed about that era
I
are
was just
coming
gonna
up.
say, things with Pluto, it's like anything that you've been denying or suppressing, it's gonna come up. Like it's
Yep,
just gonna, because it has to be inspected, or else you're never gonna move past like that karmic issue. A lot of people associate karma with Pluto, but also Saturn and different things, but it's a different kind of karma. But it could be generational, it could be ancestral, like you said, ancestral, collective trauma. It's all of the things. And it's just about rising to the surface, even in your personal life, the things that you've been trying to shove under the rug that are finally like, no, 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 you have to face the music now.
yeah. I think it's interesting that we're not having Venus squaring Pluto in its home sign anymore. We're having Venus squaring it in its that's in its detriment. Venus gonna be in its detriment squaring Pluto now instead of in its home sign. So that's
Right.
gonna be huge. That's gonna be a huge change.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had wanted to also bring up, so what we like to look at as astrologers to learn too is to look at, okay, well, when's the last time this shift happened? And when's the last time Pluto was in Aquarius? And I know you've done some of that too, and I just want to go over Pluto entering Capricorn in 1516. So when that happened, the very next year, Martin Luther protested the Catholic Church. Okay.
Wow.
That is, if that's not Pluto rolling into Capricorn, I don't know what is. Okay, that was the start of the Protestant Reformation. That was humongous. All right, because Pluto in Capricorn is about overturning the authority and the structures that have been there for so long, right? That everyone just is like goes along with.
Yep.
Someone or something comes along, goes like, no, 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 this isn't right, and right and wrong is immaterial for this, but so it's just about the restructuring in the I always picture Pluto as like what's it called, a steamroller. So whatever's not working, it's like zoop.
Yeah.
It just doesn't care. It just steamrolls the stuff that.
Yeah, it rolls over it, then it rebuilds it to something better. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because you have to roll it over, or else you're gonna build on unstable ground.
Yeah.
And then so right after Pluto entered Capricorn in 1762, okay, let's fast forward a little bit. That was the end of the 7 Year War, um,
Yeah.
the French and Indian War, and
Uh-huh.
uh, then of that, of course, led to the what? The American
Revolution.
Revolution.
Yeah.
So
Um,
basically, again, it's about the power dynamic. It's about colonists were sick of being under the thumb of Britain and
yep.
taxes, all of that type of thing, right? There was an
About freedom.
overthrow of power.
Yeah. Yearning freedom.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Oh yeah, another thing that I thought about that era was like, that was back in the times where like people used to fight. The way they used to fight, they used to stand in a line and get shot. Like the people get shot by cannonballs, and then the Americans. It's about innovation, so it's like doing everything different. So they had to innovate a new way because they were outmatched 1-to-1 with the British. So they invented guerrilla warfare. So they would just attack from behind and then like run away. And then the revolutionized war during that time period. And that's going to be like what it's going to be like. You can't do things the same way you used to do them. You have to innovate because it's going to be a very unstable world. Everything's going to be going up and down. So you got to like, it's a masculine energy. So you got to go out there and make things happen. You got to go out there and innovate to get through these times. If you're just gonna stay at your home and like try to do things the same way and be like an introvert, it's not gonna work very well for you at all.
no, no,
It's
it's
devastating.
about doing the work. It's about doing the work to make it happen. You can't just sit there and wait for the change. You have to initiate the change, and that goes
Yeah,
for your personal life, and that goes for world events too. In fact, we could probably stop screen sharing for I forgot we
yeah,
were screen sharing.
yeah, me too.
Just for this discussion about like through the years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, let me.
Um, I don't think I could do it on my. There we go. So and then fast forward many years. Let's just talk about real quick. 2008, the Great Recession. You know
Yep,
what? The the housing crisis, and this was the longest recession since World War II.
yeah,
Um, it's because people might say, "Oh, there's many recessions." No, this was huge, and if you live through it, especially people older than us, are like, "Yeah, I did not forget that."
yeah,
This was just the collapse of the big time investment banks because of the mortgage crisis. Again, it's the structure tumbling. And
yeah,
we had to figure out, oh my God, like what do we do? Like what do we do? We
yeah,
have to find new systems, new ways of doing things. And then of course in 2008 and 9, Obama became president,
yep,
making history. And I'm not here to argue if his policies or what he did. No, I'm not here to argue
yeah,
that he made history. We all know this.
yeah,
Um, and not to just be, focused on the United States or anything. There were major protests in Iran
mm,
due to their presidency in 2009.
yeah,
They There was a huge uprising, and those protests led to radical shifts for them. And so it's just like it blows your mind when you really go down the rabbit hole of okay, what happened? And what I did look at, I looked at the changing of the signs because that's where we're at. So I like to look at the changing of that. And that though was Capricorn, and I took a look at, of course, at Aquarius
yeah.
too. Was there anything you wanted to add about like, you know, the changing of things or like the era, um,
Era.
like past Pluto and Capricorn stuff?
Okay. Well, this last Pluto and Capricorn era, I find interesting that Kamala Harris's message was we're not going back, but we were still in Capricorn, so we could still go back. So it's like I think if the election was held now, she'd probably win because like now you really can't go back. You really can't go
Oh
back
no.
now.
And I should mention too to people, yes, Pluto tiptoed into Aquarius at the beginning of the year, but that was like a little taste because
Yep.
he rolled back into Capricorn. So we don't consider that the start because he rolled back. So it was kind of like peeking in, going back.
Yeah.
But he's there now for the next couple of decades. So he's rooted there. And that's when real change starts to occur.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, like, the reason I say you can't go back is because let me share again one more time. Share. Okay. The reason I say you can't go back is because now the back is the 12th house of Pluto, which is that's not where you want to be. Capricorn is not where you want to be anymore. So it's like if you go back there, there's nothing but loss.
Right.
Like people who will go back to their exes and things like that. Nah, nah, not a good idea.
No,
Yeah,
no. There, in hindsight is something like just think a lot of people, a lot of astrologers say, okay, think back over the last what is it, 18 years now? Or
yeah,
where, what happened in your life, what shifted this and that. And a lot of people are like, I don't remember, like I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know. But it really like if you're a person who kept a journal, anything like that, or look at your past Facebook posts from when Pluto entered the sign, it really gives you some clues. Okay, oh, okay. And spe personally, so when we look at Pluto in a chart, we look at the houses if we have the time of birth. We look at what it's touching too. So all three happen. Pluto is moving from his fifth to his sixth, right?
Yep.
So what has Pluto hanging out in your fifth look like in your personal life?
That it's like literally the darkest time period of my life, like as far as relationships go, has been from 2019 till probably 2023. That's just a dark period of dating. Like this is
Yeah.
literally the most abusive, messed up relationships you could ever imagine. Um, I got into like this coven, which is interesting, like a different spiritual path. Because I had like I also have Neptune there in my fifth. I got Uranus in my fifth and my moon in
Oh,
Capricorn. So it's like I ended up
oh,
in like a spiritual group, and it was like really dark. It was like well, I had to get out of there. It was like a whole bunch of spiritual things, a lot of dealing with like psychedelics and things like that.
yeah.
Things that
And
deal with
it's
like
what
spirit.
would you say though? Like, so just give the gist of the fifth house and why that translated into
Okay,
that.
yeah, the fifth house is like that's the house of the sun. Really, like well, in the modern, it's more like Leo. So
Yeah.
that's ruled by the sun. So it deals with the purest part of your spirit. So like having Pluto there is it's almost like you have to renegotiate your soul contract as to
Mhm.
why you're here. You have to accept yourself for who you are and accept your spirit and things like that. And like I evolved so much from high school to like um to where I am now. So it's like before when I was in high school, I didn't talk to anybody. I was really shy. I was like an introvert, just stayed home playing games all day. And then like I got out, I was forced out of my shell. And it was like I slowly started evolving into who I was gonna be during the expression. Like the fifth house is about expression, so the
Mhm.
expression slowly started coming out. I became an astrologer. I started getting well. I had to start from the beginning. So it's like my spiritual journey really started around 2010 when I started dealing with like Tai Chi and meditation, and then that led me to being found by psychics who wanted me to try for their psychic website. And then I went through that for a while. Then I figured out that I was too anxious for being a reader. Then I picked up astrology because I want to have like in case I couldn't connect, I wanted to be able to tell them something. So it was like I connected to astrology, and then that led to me getting into that spiritual group. It was like that was crazy time. Like 2019 was the craziest year of my life. Saw a lot of supernatural events, and yeah, it got really wild.
Yeah, and I think fifth house too, since it's connected to Leo, it can be a blow to the ego to have Pluto rolling through there. It's like if you're on any sort of a high horse or any sort of a I know best, like it could humble you real quick.
Oh yeah. And the guy who's like the leader of that coven, he was like he like all his planets were in Scorpio. Like he's like he had like he's like a Libra. No, he's a Virgo rising. He had like all his planets in Scorpio.
Oh my God.
So it was really intense, really scary.
Yeah, and me, so Pluto isn't changing houses for me, but he's been rolling through my third house. So I've really been redefining my message, things I offer, things I talk about. I've been
You said which house was it?
third.
30. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a lot about like what I am a Gemini. That's a lot about that stuff. So it's a
Yeah.
bit been a lot of a person identity stuff for me. It's been about my message, my voice, literally. You know what I
Uh,
mean? So but that it's gonna take a while to roll out of there.
yeah.
So for you, like what are you kind of setting the tone for the sixth house stuff with Pluto? Like what's your wish there?
That's the guy. I look after my health. That's my number one concern. Like that's my fixation now. I'm getting older now. And, like I'm past my first Saturn return, so it's like really gonna focus on that and building healthy habits and managing my time better. Well, right now I'm a door-to-door salesman, so it's like I'm selling solar panels and stuff like that. So I have to literally go out into the world, like it's masculine is going out, marketing and networking, things like that. Like what we're doing right now was like communication
Yeah.
through online, is very
Yeah.
Aquarius.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I should mention too, and I'm not a fear-mongering type of astrologer, but I will say when I look at death charts, Pluto factors into them a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's no accident he's death, rebirth, that kind of thing. Again, not to scare anybody, but like for alter ego, if someone's in very poor health and Pluto's moving through the six, I would be like, you really need to be diligent about doctor's appointment, whatever you need to do,
Mm.
natural medicine, whatever you need to do, just keep an eye out for anything that crops up because the sixth is health. It's things like that. It's things you take care of your body on the daily, all that type of stuff. Maintenance. I think of it as like kind of like body maintenance, the things you have to do, like eating, like drinking, like literally to keep yourself alive.
Yeah.
That's a lot has to do with sixes. It's also about routine and all that kind of stuff. Some people think the sixth house is really boring.
Yeah.
I don't. I like it.
Yeah.
I like that Virgo type of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about taking
Uh,
care of the daily stuff.
Also, Pluto's about things that are underneath the surface. So if you have a health problem that's underneath the surface, you
Yeah.
need to be checking that out.
Yeah. You don't want a
uh,
surprise.
Yeah, yeah. And it also builds survival. So it gets real primal, the primal side of humanity's subconscious.
Yeah, and if anyone, I don't know if we have any viewers, this never shows me. I don't know why on my desktop. But if you know where Pluto is going through in your chart or where he's starting to go through anything like that, comment and I'm at least happy to, I don't know about you, like happy to say something to
Oh yeah,
to
definitely. Oh yeah, yeah. I can really do a lot on that. So
let
yeah,
me
please do.
yeah, please ask us questions and because this is interactive. That's why we go live. That's not why we're not just recording on Zoom in front of nobody. Engage. So yeah, it looks like some people are watching. So I don't know that. So I don't have astrology software on my computer, so it's not easy for me to plug in a birthday quickly. And I don't know if you use software, if you're able to plug in a birthday quickly, if you want to do that for anyone, just to see if they don't know what house it's moving in.
I use Astro but it's only on my phone. I don't have like the computer version yet.
Okay. Okay, I mean, we totally could pull it up if anyone wants to share their details. It would have to be the birth date. You have to know the time and the location. I'm happy to take a look into to help out because again, and I should say too. Okay, so I'm about to make some just funny reels about like the signs that are relieved for Pluto exiting and the signs that are like, oh, it's my turn. Oh no, right?
Yeah,
But you have to look at the whole chart, and I know we all say this because if you're a Capricorn and you're like, if you're a Capricorn sun and you're like, oh, I'm good because Pluto is leaving, right?
yeah,
Well, if say your natal Pluto's in Scorpio, Pluto in Aquarius is gonna be a little bit challenging.
it
So
is.
you do have to, take that into consideration, but it really is a generality to say, look, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, and Aries, maybe you're going to feel a little bit of relief of the pressure.
Yeah, yeah, especially cancers, especially cancers.
Poor Cancers, man. They're already crying as it is. Like, let's
Yeah,
dry those tears now.
yeah, yeah. Those
Moving
relationships
forward.
are terrible.
So yeah, and what was the other thing? Yeah, you just have to keep Pluto as he moves through the generations in mind with this sort of thing. And I'm an elder millennial, so Pluto is actually at 29 degrees Libra when I was born. So he was
Okay.
at the critical Libran
Oh,
degree.
You
about
already
to,
went through your square?
huh?
You already went through your square?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not talk about it. No, just kidding. I don't want to talk about it. No, 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 it's all good. I'm used to it because I'm very Plutonian. But oh, Nora is a Cancer. Pluto currently in her second house. She knows her
Pluto.
stuff because she is my friend and client.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Pluto in the second house. Let's see. So it's about hmm.
I'm gonna pull up, I'm not gonna show it, Nora, but I'm gonna pull up your chart since I have it. Um, all right, just a second. Yeah, he is rolling. He is in her second, but he has been there. It's not like it wasn't on the cusp or anything. She is a Leo moon. So
Hmm.
that means Pluto is going to be opposing your moon sign.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah. Um, Second house, it's very much about, we know, well, I say we know, as we're astrologers, but it's very much about like the resources. And to me, it's very 3D world, the material stuff.
Hmm.
So I would say as Pluto moves through your second, it's just like, just be mindful about your resources, your money,
Hmm.
all that 3D worry stuff. Just be mindful. And I wonder for Nora if anything significant happened in those areas of her life. Um,
The thing that comes up for me, like I'm thinking like when I think of Pluto going into the second house, I'm thinking plastic surgery, like accepting yourself as you are and your own physical value or how you look and accepting that, not being too knowing what value is, not being too let's see, not giving too much, not giving too little, not knowing when to invest and when to trade, you know. It kind of comes into the picture between the second and eighth house is like, do I hold on too long or do I trade so like every day that I never hold on to anything, you know?
Right. And for Nora, she actually, congratulations, just got married. Okay. So
Okay, that's
I did
good.
like a wedding reading for her. So it's a very exciting thing. She had a beautiful wedding. And so I think that does affect things for sure when you get married and it's like, oh, my resources are now this other person's
Yeah.
resources. And I
You
have
know,
to
that makes a
like,
lot of sense.
yeah,
Like
right,
where
right.
Moon opposed Pluto in the seventh. So now everything's about bringing on that Libra energy to her moon.
Yeah. Yeah, it all makes sense. And I would say like with that, it's just like be mindful, compromise, because the second house is a little bit about like let's smooth things, it's there's a balancing act a little bit there. But her moon in Leo is in the eighth.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, again with other people's resources, well, which is obviously her new husband, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone has their information, let us know.
Her
Um,
moon's in the eighth.
yeah, she said that wedding and honeymoon were expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the eighth house is about commitments.
Mm.
Uh trying to do all that in my head.
And Pluto is about to move out of her husband's sixth house. Ooh, that's kind of juicy. That means it's going into his seventh and he just got
Okay.
married. So
Okay.
he's gonna go, he getting married for him, like I'm wondering if maybe he was single for a while or something where because getting married for him is gonna be a pretty big transformation. He's like
Yeah.
gonna have to step up to the plate.
Yeah. I feel like the thing that I should bring up is like not it's like you have to redefine yourself in a relationship. You don't want to get too lost in it. And
Mhm.
since it's Leo Aquarius, it's about like um it's about wanting to connect and love all the way, but it's also there's a part of us that is like held back and like blocked off like Aquarius. So it's like a coldness and a hotness, like a hot and cold type of thing going
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah. It's and that dynamic, that axis, the Leo Aquarius one could be so stubborn.
Yeah,
Because it's fixed, it's a fixed axis. So it could be very, I've met people with that axis, they're so opinionated and they almost don't want to hear like another opinion. They don't
yeah,
waffle on their opinion. They're just like, I'm right.
yeah,
And the end. And I'm like, wait, as a Gemini, I'm like, whoa. I'm
yeah,
so mutable that I'm like, wait, there's other perspectives. They're like, nah, no, there's not. I'm
yeah.
right. And that's the end of it. Amber.
What?
has Pluto in her second too.
One second.
Wait, but it's moving through hold on. I have her chart too. Haha. Hold on. Let me see because she said it's moving through her fourth, so that doesn't make sense. Um, Let me see, Amber.
I might be talking about NATO.
I think so, but I don't know. She has, oh yeah, Pluto in the second natal, and it's moving. Transit Pluto's moving through her fourth. Yes, that's what's happening.
Okay, Pluto the
Okay.
second. Yeah. Pluto the second is kind of like goes back to like plastic surgery, like accepting yourself as you are, not trying to alter yourself, uh, not being like a kind of like it's a boundary. Like Pluto's about boundaries, just know the boundary of what you should collect. Like not going on shopping sprees and spending all your money or uh uh not gambling too much, things like that. Because gambling would be like Scorpio. So like there could be like a tendency to gamble or overspend or over obsess over beauty,
Mm.
not knowing your own value or valuing things too much or valuing yourself too much or valuing yourself too little. It's like things like that.
Amber, can I share? Do you mind if I share your chart? Let's see if I can blur out her details. Oh yeah, I could cut off your details because her chart is like one of the like least problematic I've ever seen. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like I don't know. It's like a beautiful chart. So I'm wondering, Amber, let me know if it's okay to. Oh, she said sure. She's like, do
Okay.
it. Okay, let me
Yeah,
share
I'm
it
looking forward to
because it's
this.
hard. Yeah, it's easier for us to just look.
Yeah,
It's hard to just. I'm a visual
yeah,
person. I'm sure
yeah, me
you
too. It's
appreciate it.
hard to think about all that.
All right. Do you see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Oh, I thought I. Oh, haha. Here it is. All right. All
There
right.
it is. All right.
Just
You
like look at all this loveliness. You know what I mean? There's some good juicy stuff, but yeah, so here's for Pluto. Obviously, Pluto's up in here. Um,
okay. See Libra rising. Okay.
mhm.
Hmm. And Pluto's going right into Aquarius in the fourth house. Oh, wow. So early on, Pluto's gonna hit that North Node. That's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Um, so your ruling planet is Venus. Where's Venus at? Venus is in Leo. Okay, let's see. Hmm. And Pluto's in the second Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Um, Mars is 2 degrees Gemini. Hmm, that's interesting. The Mar thing that pops out to me is that Mars square Venus.
Yeah, I always look at. I'm like, um, and I know how that manifests for her. I'm not gonna be the one to say anything, but I'll just say like it's there. It's there.
Yeah,
It's not an easy. It's not an easy one.
yeah. Oh, let's see. Sun. And that Venus is in the solar 12th, so it's like, um, hmm, interesting. It's almost like kind of reminds me like huh, a compulsion to do something or like to have something or a feeling of loss towards something that you really hold dear. That's what
Mm.
I'm thinking.
She's
Um,
she's I've known her for about a decade, and I got to meet her in person earlier this year, and it was so cool. And it was funny to see someone with the Virgo aspect here in the moon in the sixth in person. Cause I don't see that over like video or anything. And she's like over there, like, with the Purell, hand sanitizer, which I do a lot too. And I'm just like, oh man, the Virgo, like I got to see the Virgo in person, the Virgo stuff. Were Yeah, it was really cool. So sometimes you don't see that stuff until you're physically in front of somebody. It doesn't really pop out, but she's very Virgo.
yeah, Virgo. Yeah, the Mars, that Mercury's at home. Um, it's in the first house of her son, which means it's definitely it's almost like the ascendant almost.
Hmm.
So like you know the first house of the sun, so it's like it's definitely divine defined by Virgo and therefore also Libra. So it's like Libra can be too perfectionist. So it's like everything has to be exactly right. I have to look my makeup has to be exactly right.
I
I'm
was
going
with her when
nowhere.
we were putting makeup on. Like we're both we're I think we're just like because obviously I have a lot. I'm mercurial as well, So it was funny the Gemini, the Virgo being all like, okay, we have to look perfect before we go out tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about her? And this kind of goes off topic of Pluto, but not really because it's the 12th house. What do you think about the 12th house here, the Sun and Mercury up in there?
Let's see. 12th house, got Mercury in there. Hmm. Definitely there could be some kind of spiritual gifts like a mediumship or things like that. That's what I'm thinking.
That to me kind
Um,
of speaks to really practical mediumship where you don't get too lost in the woo-woo part because of that beautiful earth, the Virgo. I feel like it could be if she wants to do any sort of mediumship, it would be really relatable, really like focused on the practical.
yeah. Yeah,
Because
because
she's
it's
really
being filtered
earthy.
through Mercury. So it'd be like some kind of like I think like automatic writing. Like
Yep.
instead of just like being like a regular psychic, you're writing it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, that's actually perfect for that placement. That's perfect. Amber, I don't know if you've done it. So people who don't know automatic writing, it's basically when, you get a pen and paper and you just start writing and just let it flow like you're being guided by something. And that helps a lot of us. I've tried it too. That helps a lot of us anchor into something. You sometimes need a tool. It could be a pendulum, it could be whatever it is. It helps it come through. Um,
Mhm.
so it's not like a crutch, it's more like a tool.
Yeah. There's something that's very interesting about what I'm seeing here. It's like so you have the traits of Virgo, but your moon is in Aries and Mars is in Gemini. So it's like that's very it's almost like there's like a like back and forth between Virgo and Aries, like that's instantly doing things without thinking and then thinking too much. Like
Yeah, that's a bit of an overthinker, but after the action,
yeah, like it's already happened.
Yeah.
Now how can I fix it?
Yeah. How do I pedal back a little bit? Uh,
Yeah. Hmm.
and
Mars.
since we have her chart open, since she is, a millennial, this is why I was talking
Yeah.
about Pluto being shared by in general the millennial generation, the younger millennials, and then so hop, skip, and a jump to square Aquarius.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of like, okay, you're in the hot seat now, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how that Pluto square Pluto opposition is going to happen for millennials. What that is even going to look like. Hmm. I know with Pluto and Scorpio, it's kind of like about repressed trauma and not being able to connect to disconnect. That's main thing that millennials struggle with, and that's
yeah.
going to be brought into the forefront with Aquarius. It's like, huh? It's almost like we're having a hard time connecting with the world in a way. It's like we're being put in a position of power where we have to be the leaders now. We're the leaders of the world, but we're still struggling and stumbling over our subconscious issues.
Hmm.
So it's almost like there's a certain integration that has to happen there. It's not an easy one. Um,
I think a
so
lot of millennials have been or want to be in therapy, which I think is not a bad idea. I
yeah,
think that's where we get to the root of all this stuff because it is suppressed, and we're like, how come I can't like get a house and get a good job and manifest a good relationship? And it's a lot of the suppressed stuff.
yeah,
And I think that the only way is to really, especially like psychotherapy, things like that. Really, really, really getting to the root of it through that sort of thing, or else it's really, really hard to resolve it on your own.
yeah. Yes, yeah, think about the Venus being in the 11th and Leo, 'cause it rules her rising,
Hmm.
and that Mars is in. 8th at the very beginning of Gemini. Huh. So it definitely has something to do with like there's some kind of trauma or something that is being. I definitely could see some kind of therapy going on. Like it's something that, huh, some kind of trauma involving communication or lack thereof, or something that maybe one doesn't want to talk about, or something like that. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I know this that when I met Amber in person, even though I've known her for a long time, there were things I didn't know that she opened up about that were very intense.
Yeah,
And that's all I'll say. But yeah, what yeah, I can vouch for what you're saying here.
yeah,
Maybe I don't think she likes to unburden onto other people
yeah,
her problems.
yeah. That's kind of a Virgo trait, especially I think she's um 13. Yeah, she's in the second decade, so we probably have a very similar birthday. I'm September 6th. She's probably born between the first and the 10th.
Yeah, we that's why I actually went down to LA with and we met with another friend. It was her birthday, around her birthday, so we were
Yeah.
celebrating. So that was really cool. Yeah, so I'll stop share with that, Amber. And if anyone, after the fact comments, I'll try to keep an eye on this and we could just, I'm happy to just take a peek at people's charts after the fact. But in general, what would you call would you call this age of Aquarius? And if so, or if not even, what would be the theme of what we're moving into? Like if you could categorize what Pluto in Capricorn was and what we're entering now, what's the difference?
Okay. Yeah. I think what I've heard, this is the age of Aquarius coming in, but 2025 is the last year of age of Pisces. So then 2026 comes on and we're in there. So that's what I've heard, but I don't know for sure. But what I'm expecting for the world going forward, well, I have to go like beyond just this. I'm looking at like
Yeah.
Neptune and Saturn in Aries and Uranus in Gemini. So what I think is going to happen is the world's kind of moving to the right. Like that MAGA energy is kind of moving across the entire world.
Right.
Like we're looking at immigration and borders are going to be more defined. Like okay, we don't like people coming in illegally and things like that, and that's how it's going to start off, but it's going to move more in a direction of there's a new spiritual awakening coming, like a new, because we're when Neptune is spirituality, so that's going to lead from Pisces where everybody's feeling lost, and uh, Saturn's definitely feeling lost there, and it's going to go into Aries where it's like this new optimism, this new hope, this new hero in spirituality, or it could be like a new spiritual teacher who arises like a Buddha or a Christ type figure coming up in the near future. Um, Maybe it might be the return of Christ. No, no. But
Oh yeah. That kind of makes sense, you know?
yeah,
That kind of does.
but then I'm thinking about Uranus. What that's gonna look like in Gemini. Holy shit, that's a lot. Because yeah, that kind of goes into the spiritual awakening too. Because it's like the knowledge of the higher and the lower. That's Uranus, and but there's like this fear of being outcast for what you believe and what you say. It's something like in a certain group. If you're in the Uranian group, you can't say certain things, or else you might not be accepted in that group anymore. You might be outcasted, or it's like there's like a tribal groupthink, a hive mind type of mentality. Um, it's definitely gonna be huge upheavals, a lot of rebellions in Europe. That's what I'm thinking. I think those tariffs are definitely gonna happen with Trump. There's definitely gonna be a lot of tariffs, and it's gonna cause certain countries in the world to go out on their own. So it's like, okay, we have to form these new weird alliances. That's the end of Uranus and Taurus is about strange alliances. So there's gonna be new alliances as far as trade going in the world. I think it's gonna be a decent time for America. I don't think it's gonna be bad, even with Trump. I think what people think about what's gonna happen with Trump is gonna be overplayed in a certain way because Trump's energy really fits the energy they were moving into.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely, like as far as all things he's looking to change in America, I think this is a time to change and try things new. And there's gonna be a lot of things like that happening in the world. I'm thinking there's gonna be a lot of natural disasters coming.
Yeah.
Definitely global warming is going to come up. Things like that. Um,
Well, they just found it's called they call it the oarfish. The fish of doom
yeah.
has resurfaced. That
Oh
means
yeah,
it
yeah,
means you get big earthquakes. You not that kind of thing happens, and I'm just like, oh, well, so
yeah.
what you're saying it lines up with that, and I'm like, hmm. But in general, like a lot of people are saying like, yeah, AI is a thing, but you don't even understand how it's going to evolve in Aquarius. I mean.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna if people don't like Elon Musk, I'm sorry. He's like the king of the next couple decades. I'm sorry, like
yeah,
it's very much his energy. It's like that forward-thinking innovation. And I'm not talking about his personal preferences, his policies, his bias, nothing. I'm talking about his energy. He brings something to the table, things that people do not think about, and he has the money to fund this stuff.
yeah.
So we're going to be seeing a lot more of innovation, I think, especially from him. But I think a lot of people are going to crop up that are assisting in this kind of evolution. And what excites me is that Aquarius is considered the sign of astrology itself. So I'm like, I'm seeing it in institutions. I'm seeing it, I'm not saying it now, but I'm saying I'm hoping that moving forward, it's going to be weaved into curriculum. It's going to be more widely accepted, that
Mm.
kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that whole take on that as far as Aquarius being astrology, but because I think of like I'm kind of like a ancient astrologer, so I'm thinking about Saturn, like Saturn rules Aquarius. So it's like, but also there's Uranus, but I mean there's also Saturn. It's like
Yeah.
a new order. So it's like that's what I think when think of Saturn. I think of Capricorn Saturn is like the dark moon. I mean the dark sun, and Aquarius the white sun or the light sun. So it's like there's like a new order, but it's like when I think of astrology, I'm thinking like Mercury. So I'm thinking like Gemini or Virgo. More Gemini though.
It's pretty Gemini. It's pretty.
Yeah.
The reason I think why people assign it to Aquarius is because of the concept of Aquarius being like the information giver, and that makes
Mm.
sense. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's definitely airy. You know,
Yeah.
astrology is pretty airy. You know, there is a degree of intuition, of course, with it,
Yeah.
but in general, it really is. I call it a science. I know people get mad about that, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of Aquarius, I'm thinking like channelers. It's kind of like channeling aliens and things like that. That's kind of Aquarius to me.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Aquarius is weird, okay?
Yeah.
Like, those are the people, those are the weird people, those are the people who typically, you usually know an Aquarius, and especially an Aquarius rising, as soon as you meet them, you're like, oh yeah, they're usually pretty offbeat. They're usually pretty unusual. They go against the grain. Sometimes they come across as hippie, but not always. It's that's kind of an old stereotype for Aquarius, but it's the forward thinkers. It's the people who think outside the box. Very, very much like that. They're the ones bringing a different type of learning, I think, to the table.
Yeah. Definitely. Aquarius is like, oh, the thing about Aquarius, like Aquarius is about knowledge of the higher and lower, it's detached, but it's like it's not focused on loving self. That's more Leo. So it's detached from itself. It doesn't necessarily love itself, but it's always giving. So it's about a certain giving that's happening. Like I think we're moving into like a better time period because we're leaving the winter. Like Pluto's moving into the winter, but like everything else is moving out of winter. So you got Saturn and Neptune moving out of winter and moving into spring. So it's like everything's gonna get a lot more bright and uh positive moving. And I think a lot of the dark things we've seen over the past few years is gonna be revealed and rushed out as far as government goes. Like government, because government is Saturn, like we're going from Pisces, so it's like Pisces is like a sense of well, I think this election is very, very Saturn and Pluto, Saturn and Pisces. This election, like I feel like well, I lost my government. Like the women's rights are, it's like a feeling of loss towards how the government's moving, and it's very divided. And like, um, but Pisces is also about compassion and understanding. Um, but it's like a fish that swims both ways, and like a so it's like there's a light and dark side to all signs. So um, I think Aquarius brings like a scientific perspective. So it's like you have to try out new things in life, and there's not always going to be somebody who's going to be able to help you with what you need. Sometimes you're going to have to branch out and figure out how to do it on your own,
Right.
do it your own way in a different way that's never been done before.
Yeah. Find out how you could go outside the box a little bit with your thinking and things like that. And I think we're going to be presented with new ideas that some people are going to like balk at, like this is crazy or this has never been done before. That's probably a theme I'd say. Pluto
Yeah,
and Aquarius, where people go, this has never been done before, so let's not do it. It's like, no, then do it. Like, see what happens.
yeah.
It's really much energy of bringing the new, just new systems
Yep, it's forward. Forward is the word of
for motion.
Aquarius.
Yeah, and I should say too, the thing with Aquarius is it's so, so much of the mind and the thinking energy that it could be, Aquarians come off as sometimes a little bit cold and detached. They're not the warmest people, just because it's up here,
Yeah.
and then when Pluto moves into Pisces though, it's gonna be a little bit more about compassion in the people. And so, what do you think actually about? Right now we're a label hungry culture. Everything's labeled. Everyone's this, everyone's that, everyone's neurodivergent or they're not, uh,
Mhm.
everyone's like, different gender, all the gender, everything. There's so many labels. Do you think that's going to intensify in Aquarius or dissolve? I at first I thought it might dissolve, but I think we might lean more into it. But by the time we get to Pluto and Pisces, that's just gonna no, that's just not gonna, it's just gonna blur. I feel like we're not gonna be so attached to these labels.
I think it's gonna as far as the I take that back to wokeism. I think wokeism is on the decline like quickly. I
Hmm.
don't think that's gonna be a thing. Like I think especially with Trump coming in, he already has ideas to move all that from government. So it's like um I think the world is gonna follow suit on that. It's gonna I don't think it's gonna be most people think of Aquarius, they think it's gonna be a very liberal time period. I don't necessarily agree with that 'cause we got Pluto here. So Pluto is gonna go to the extreme first. It's gonna go to extreme conservatism first. So it's like we don't trust technology, so we're not going to use it. So it's like look at how it's gonna be that movement, and there's gonna be moving part into it. So it's gonna be both sides. So it's gonna be the wokeism, then there's gonna be the extreme not wokeism, and I think the extreme not wokeism is gonna win. But it's the I don't know. It's gonna be explosive times, very rebellious, very a lot of things gonna burn down. Let's say.
Yeah, yeah, for real. And but in general, I'd say like I think we're gonna reach a period maybe when we get more towards the middle of Aquarius is where there's gonna be, how am I trying to say it? Like a more of a harmony because there is harmony with Aquarius. There's like a it's almost like a brotherly love. It's like it's working together. Well, like I think we're gonna make more of an effort to after all the tumultuous stuff to come together. Like, okay, how do we come together as a nation,
Yeah,
as a race, as a you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
more of the collective effort. That's a lot about Aquarius, the collective effort to move forward. And the only way we're gonna advance is if we try to be cohesive.
yeah. I think 2026 is going to be a huge year, like huge, because of that Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. So it's like when I think of Saturn, you think about government and law. So there's going to be like new laws because like we're going to Aries, so it's new. So it's like a new restructuring or new identification of government and laws, re-identification of health and how we view the FDA and things like that are pretty much I'm not sure that wokeism is going to go away, but it's not going to be the same as it has been in Capricorn. It's going to have to evolve into something else.
Yeah, in my weekly forecast, I did talk about when Pluto. I did give them a little gist of, but I told them we'd be going live, so I didn't go too deep into it because I could have been there for 2 hours. But I
Yeah,
basically said like education, healthcare, all of these structures, they're not gonna I talk about when they're not gonna look the same. They're not gonna look the same. I always say like when my girls are ready for college, I don't even know if there's gonna be college. I like it's so there's an air of unpredictability with Aquarius because of its ruler. But then at the same time there we have the Saturn. So it's like yeah, it's interesting the rulerships of Aquarius. I find that very interesting, the ancient and the modern.
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about like a Saturn because like Saturn's actually stronger in Aquarius than it is in Capricorn. So it's like uh, I'm trying to imagine like how that's gonna look in the world. So it's not like the old order, it's the new order. So there's like a certain, I maybe think a new world order, but it's not, I don't think it's gonna be like that. Like our how we thought the new world order is gonna look. It's not gonna be like some kind of tyrannical fascist type of government thing. It's gonna be something different than what we imagined. I think the new world order is gonna be an individualistic, where all the countries, I think the globalism is on a decline. I think globalism is pretty much all countries stand on their own now.
Yeah.
That's how I think it's going to look. But I think that's going to happen because Trump tariffs, so it's going to cause a lot of economic turmoil around the world. So they're going to have to figure out new trade routes between other nations they wouldn't have thought about trading with, and things like that. I think
Yeah.
that's the big thing we're going to see in the next 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, I can't wait to see what happens when Uranus goes into Gemini. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, said the non-Gemini. I'm over
Yeah.
here like, because I got a lot of st I have a stellium, so
Gemini
guys.
is my 10th house, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, that could go a variety of ways for you. Maybe,
Gemini 10th
maybe a big
house.
old career shift or a,
But then
hmm,
again, Mercury's in my first house, so well,
hmm.
that's gonna be interesting. So in a way, we're in the same boat in a certain way because Mercury's in my first house.
Yeah. Wow. And that leads me to I was going to say we could wrap this one up, but I do want to do a year ahead forecast with you live. That could be next month and because I'll say some astrologers are saying people need to leave the United States. And
uh, I don't agree with
um
that at all.
yeah, exactly. So I want to just I want to tell people why though. Like when we get to that, I want to be able to tell people this is why they're afraid, but I also want to give some hope and show people that that's not really, to me, that's not really the way,
Yeah,
personally. But yeah, I don't know. We could talk about about that with the 2025 forecast, but just saying, if you hear astrologers saying leave the country, especially they've been saying it before the election, but now they're really doubling down on that.
yeah.
I'll tell you, like, calm down, don't pack your bags yet. Just we'll give you the tea.
I'd say countries to leave Canada, leave Canada, leave China, leave UK. Those might be places where I leave. Don't leave Europe. That's gonna be the
Oh
main event is
God.
gonna be in Europe.
Well, I think people are a lot of people are eyeballing Europe from the United States, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Oh my God. Yeah,
They're
there's
gonna
a lot
regret
to talk
that.
about with that. We could, yeah, that's a lot. But for now, Pluto is officially, as we speak, in Aquarius,
Yeah.
and but I should also close by saying we both do private readings. So if you're
Yeah.
like, well, I want to know what house, and I want to know more. What's it touching? What's it doing? What's going to change? Like the only way to know that, unless you do your own research, and it takes a long time, is to go to a trusted astrologer. And I hope that by us doing these types of lives, we become your trusted astrologers. We dig deep. We dig deep. Like that's why I like to go live with all three because he's no fluff pop astrologer. He goes deep and I that's what I like is a very Scorpio person. Like I go underneath the surface. I'm not saying the same thing TikTok astrologers are saying though. I am on TikTok, but I'm not saying the same thing. So yeah, DM either of us, whoever you resonate with, for a private reading. If you really, really want to get to the bottom of where Pluto is in your chart, what's happening with that, and where transit Pluto is and what he's doing.
Yep. Definitely.
Cool. All right. Let us, wow, we've been at it for a little, about an hour 15. Nice. I
Oh,
told you
yeah.
guys there's a lot to, I mean, we probably could have talked for 4 more hours on
Yeah,
this.
we really could.
But it's exciting times. I'm excited. Of course, with every shift like this, it's tumultuous. It's like a labor pains, like birthing period. But in general, I'm actually pretty excited about this shift, and I hope to encourage other people to be excited because I don't like to lead to fear. I like
Yeah.
to lead to opportunity. And how can I work with this?
Yeah, the positive is that it's going to be a great time to be free. It's a great time to redefine yourself. It's a great time to find your spirituality. I think those are the main highlights of the next 20 years. Yeah,
I'm in then. I'm in.
yeah.
I'm all about that. So, oh wait. Amber had a question and I didn't see it. Hold on.
Okay.
What does it mean about the North Node? You did say something about her North Node. Hold on.
Oh, pull that
Mm,
back up.
let me pull it up. Da, 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 da. All right. So her North Node. Da, 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 da.
North Node and
Oh,
Aquarius.
just that you said it because Amber, Pluto is going to be joining your North Node. It'll take a little while, but he is technically conjunct it because he's close enough now that he's in Aquarius.
I think something's gonna happen with like her friend group or her friends. It's gonna be something like they're dragging her a new direction, or let's see, this is happening in the
Fourth.
fourth house. So, that's very interesting. Uh, it's almost like maybe you're like um maybe some kind of event at your house, or maybe you're like some kind of shadow work involving friends, or helping your friends heal, or something like that coming up, or could have something to do with like soulmates because we're dealing with soul contracts with Pluto. So soul contracts involving friendships or connections, or could have something to do with like receiving things too, because the 11th house is opportunities coming in, whereas the second house where you hold on to those that the opportunity. Um, New opportunities involving networking and technology maybe, or hmm, maybe I can see something like somebody getting solar panels on the house with that kind of a
Oh, look
transit,
at him
or
plugging his service. No, just kidding. No,
yeah.
she's in New Mexico. I think that's kind of far for you to be knocking on her door, but
Yeah,
um, no, I like that for because fourth is very much about like the home environment, that kind of thing. So it
yeah,
makes she has a couple young kids, so I'm excited to see what that holds for her too.
yeah. Definitely have something to do with family or reconnect with the family, or uh, doing something involving like your family. That's like different, like some kind of new innovative way of doing something. And it
Mm.
could have something to do with somebody else. It's somebody else who comes in and initiates it. It's not necessarily coming from you. Hmm.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me see if we have any other okay, she goes by Sun. She asks, I feel great. Finally, Pluto is off my back. So she said, it feels like I just got let out of jail. So I'm guessing she's a Capricorn sun, but sun. So she also can you talk about the nodes shifting?
Okay. The node shifted from Aries to Pisces and Virgo.
No, she means well, I'll take off Amber. She means I think in general,
Okay.
like
Oh,
collectively.
well, the nodes are it's kind of like it goes back to the eclipses. That's where the eclipse is going to happen. So the eclipses happen in like 50% of astrology is just the eclipses. Like nothing really sets in motion fully until the eclipses happen. So with the North Node and the South Node moving there, Rahu and Ketu, it's the head of the demon and the tail of the demon. So it's like Rahu is like that's the part that nobody wants to go to, but that's where the universe wants you to go. It wants you to go to Rahu and what sign that's in. But everybody wants to be safe and comfortable in Ketu, which is past life karma, but it's what you do naturally very good, but it's like what the universe is trying to move you away from. But it's too you're in a comfort zone. There's illusions
Yeah, there's
surrounding
no
that.
growth. There's no, you might be
Yeah,
good at something, but there's no growth or there's no competition. It's just, it's kind of boring. It's,
yeah.
she,
Usually that's just some messed up things that happen there, karmic things that happen if you stay there too long.
she said, yeah, about, oh, it went away, but yeah, about it going in from, into Virgo and,
Pisces.
Pisces.
Yeah, that's oh man, I'm not looking forward to that at all because I'm Virgo, South Node Virgo with Pluto in my sixth house. That good, but that's not good for Virgos. But like she wants to know about it in general.
Yeah.
So like Pisces is like you have to I see Pisces and Virgo as the matrix. It's like Virgo is the matrix. Pisces is getting out of the matrix. So it's like the North Node and Pisces, you have to go through you have to do things. It's kind of like going back to Aquarius, where you have to find a new order, a new way to do things in order to escape the matrix. And whereas you could also stay back in the old jobs like the 9 to 5 and work your ass off and being miserable, or you can be the slave, or you can be following your spiritual destiny and that great vision that the universe or God has for you. That's kind of Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node. Whereas the opposite happened in I think that's around Obama and when Pluto went into Capricorn. So the opposite was like finding the opportunities that were there in the physical dimension. It's very physical and like that's probably why the recession happened because it's like it's about physical things
The
and
3D.
your routines are different. People get laid off, and
Yeah.
where are the opportunities? Where can I find the opportunities in the physical world? Where now it's like it's about getting away from that. It's like finding your own innovative, intuitive, spiritual destiny more so than it's finding your physical safety place.
I think too, as the North Node has been in Aries, it's a lot about redefining who you are and your independence, all that kind of Aries stuff. So when it's going into Pisces, it's like it can be a deep spiritual awakening. I think collectively it's gonna be, we can't deny it. We can't deny that. And yeah, yeah, what you said feels really good about Virgo and putting things into practice.
Yeah,
And she also asked so Pluto will be in her eighth house. So do we have any thoughts? So, Sun, is it just moving into your eighth, or I'll have to ask her, or has it been in your eighth? Is it because it Pluto changing signs doesn't mean it's gonna change a house sign. I'm t telling everyone this, not her if she already knows this. It
yeah,
doesn't mean it's gonna change a house sign because houses don't line up, all the time with that. So, oh, she's a Cancer ascendant. Um, we kind of earlier talked about Pluto and its association with eighth because that's its home.
yep,
So to me, that's very much of a oh my gosh, it could be intense if you don't have that in you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But since she's a water rising, I feel like she could probably handle this.
yeah.
Um,
Definitely. But it can come up as a challenge because like too much water isn't muted, so it's like there's suppression. Even in Cancer, it's suppressed somewhat, it's suppressed and repressed. Whereas like uh Pisces is more suppressed and Scorpio is more
oh,
repressed.
she's a Pisces sun, she just said.
Oh yeah, Pisces. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's gonna
Wow.
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of things to comb through. Like definitely spiritual, definitely Blue's about boundaries. So it's about finding the boundary of how dark it can get. How dark can you go? It could go into like often when I see Pluto and eighth or Pluto Scorpio, it can go into drugs. Or what's the limit of how deep into the dark drugs I can go, or how deep into the drug dealing or stripping or things like that? Or not necessarily that's not necessarily the case, but it could also have to do with how deep into debt can I go? How deep into money laundering? How deep into anything like that?
She said she's a Cap Moon and Stellium, so she's pretty grounded. She's been doing shadow work and rediscovering her spirituality recently. That's
Yeah, that's definitely it.
really good. So
That's definitely it.
Even though Pluto and Aquarius, there's spirituality, like we mentioned, but it's a little bit more logic based, a little more, thinking things through. But with you, I would say maybe it will lend more of a like I see you like maybe sharing what you've learned. Like
Yeah,
not like stop holding it in just for yourself and like
yeah.
telling people go, "Oh my gosh, look what I figured out about my," or look at what you could do and here's how I solved this, or just sharing what you're learning in your spiritual journey to others
Mm,
because it's Aquarius is the information share or the share of knowledge. So I feel like it's about that communication instead of just keeping it internal.
mm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, yeah, I think that's very accurate, especially with all that water going on. There's definitely emotions and spirituality are front and center. But it's like it's almost like you have to do it in a different way now. It's like you got to find new ways to be spiritual, or like spirituality is gonna present itself to you in a different way. But it's gonna come through getting through the repressed, dark part of the spirit, like accepting the dark side, like shadow, definitely shadow work. Talk to your shadow and understanding it, and I don't know. It's like a new order of like hmm. That's a lot. I don't know how
There's
to
a
put
lot,
it in
yeah, there's
words,
a lot
but
of different direction. Also, as a Capricorn moon, I feel like, Sun, if you, as you're sharing the information, how do I say this? try not to get into like go too hard with it. Like I'm right and just listen to me because like, Capricorn could be pretty intense and be pretty much with that earth energy, it's very much charge ahead. Like, I don't care about your feelings. Like, this is what I know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, but since you're a Cancer rising, maybe that doesn't apply to you as much. I'd have to see the whole thing. But it could Capricorn moons, they could be a little bit disconnected from emotion and um but again with a Cancer rising, perhaps not for her.
Hmm. See the Cancer rising Capricorn in the seventh. So it's like, hmm, moons. Said moons in Capricorn?
Yeah.
Okay, moons in Capricorn.
And she has a stellium there.
So it's like you're gonna go over like a understanding of why you feel safe only when you're with somebody else, and why can't you feel safe alone or something like that. That's what I'm thinking. So it's almost like self versus other. There's a lot of self versus other going on in this shadow work, or there's like new understandings involving relationships with other people and yourself, or giving too much or giving too little, or
Mhm.
it's almost like there's a certain role that you feel like a relationship should have, and that's the only way you can feel safe if it's
Like a
just like
me
that.
against the world type of safety feeling, like feeling
Yeah,
like, hey, I don't need you. I could do this, but deep down it's not gonna feel fulfilling at the end of the day with those other placements. That's not, and oh, we have another astrologer on. So he said, I don't know
okay.
what we're doing here. So let me tell him, we're talking about Pluto entering Aquarius. But he came to bitch about the square transit Saturn, seventh house has created with his 10th house midheaven, conjunct Gemini Mercury. Hold on. Which is
We can pull
also
that
the
up.
tail, which is also the tail of my grand air kite. Bitch with me, please. So hold on. Let's break it down. Okay.
We gotta
So
pull that one up. I
transit
can't even think of all that.
transit Saturn is in the seventh house.
27, 7. Okay.
Okay.
So Virgo rising.
Transit has created wow, I'm gonna have to type this. Hold on, let me type it. I can for whatever reason I can't visualize this. So let me type it here for you in the chat. So uh-huh transit, oh, a square. I'll type exactly what he said. Square transit Saturn. I think he typed it a little backwards. Seventh house with 10th house, of course, midheaven. I mean 10th house, of course that's midheaven. Uh,
Also, basically Saturn square his midheaven.
Conjunct Gemini Mercury. All right, I typed it in the chat so that um okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
square transit Saturn, same house.
So basically Gemini Mercury conjunct in the 10th. Gemini Mercury, Gemini 10th house, and then there's a square to his Saturn in the 7th.
Yeah.
Sorry, with transit Saturn in the 7th. I said his. He means transit. And then he said
So
there's a
what?
grand air kite too.
What's the sign?
Mm. Oh, the sun sign?
Hmm.
You are complicated, man. What's your sun sign? I know this. I just saw it, and now I think he's a Taurus, but oh no, I think he's an Aries. But
Aries.
let us know your sun sign.
I mean, he's Aries. That means his sign would be in the eighth,
Oh, Taurus ninth house, sun. Okay, I was right the first time.
ninth house. Yeah, I wish I could pull up the chart because like, there's a lot to think about.
I know. Well, let's break it down in general then, like for the collective. Well, he's an astrologer, so he knows what we're gonna say probably. But so you have transit Saturn, right? In his seventh square his midheaven with
Yeah,
his Gemini midheaven in Mercury is right there. So that's tough with career, man. Like
yeah,
uh I feel like if there have been partnerships that haven't worked out, there's a reason. Like in career, in business, like maybe you paired with a business partner and it's not working out, or you have regrets.
I'm thinking like when I'm thinking 7,000, I'm thinking like there's like a contract of some sort, and there's like
Oh, he closed his business.
oh,
Wow.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that. Um, close his business. Okay. Oh yeah, 'cause, Mercury is his ruling of his rising, which is Virgo. It's like hmm, Gemini.
Also,
Yeah, that's bad.
as a Gemini midheaven, I'm wondering too if he Gemini midheavens to me they're kind of jacks of all trade. They're like they wear different hats. And I think I've seen that with you. I think I've seen that with you from the little I've seen. We've just recently become Facebook friends, so I don't know a lot about him, but I know that he does different things and has different business ventures, if I'm right about that, I think. So that could be very much a Gemini midheaven to me. Pretty versatile, pretty much like, molding into your environment and trying to figure out how to make money, like where you're at, how to be successful, where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can definitely relate to where he's at because well, we have the same rising, so like I'm going through the exact same thing. But my Mercury's in my first house, yeah, not the 10th. That's the main difference. For me, it's more about identifying what business I want to create or find a new identity in that. Yeah, adding more.
He just said, "Ta-da!" He's really funny. Hi, Veronica. Veronica's watching. Okay, so guys, we were gonna wrap it up, and then we got questions, which I don't mind at all. Like,
Yeah,
it's totally cool. That's what I love. I love this part of it as a freaking Gemini with a stellium. I'm like, talk to me. Let's
yeah, that's
talk.
the best part. Yeah.
What's this part? Wow. And Chris is a Taurus ninth house. I'm trying to think about that. I'm wondering if your son just wants a little bit more. Even though your midheaven's like, hey, I'll just try this on and I'll try this on. Maybe your son's like not cool with it. Like choose a lane. Like your son's like, choose a lane
Yeah,
in your work, but you don't necessarily have to fit yourself into that box. And that's what I've struggled with as a Gemini. Like people trying to be like, well, oh, you like this, but you also like this. How are you going to merge the two? It's like, what? I'm not gonna fit myself into a box. And I've tried to do that and it doesn't work for me.
yeah,
That's why I call myself an alchemistic, like I just do various things. I do the chakras, I do astrology, I do numerology, I do oracles, I do tarot, like I do all the mystic things because I'm a Gemini
yep,
with an eighth house sun, everybody. So
yeah. I'm the same
I
way.
limit myself and I'm done. I'm done
Yeah,
limiting myself. Do I do all the mystic things? Yes, I do. And I'm not going to apologize anymore.
yeah. Oh, I think I know what needs to be brought up here about this seventh house transit. Like right now Jupiter's right there. Jupiter's retrograde right there in that 10th house of Gemini. So it's like it's about so it's like it should be this way. The picture was supposed to look like this when I made it, but it's not. The facts aren't adding up. It's like it's not looking the way financially I thought it was gonna look. And like Gemini's in fall position there. Actually no, it's in detriment
Yeah.
there. So
To me,
yeah,
as a Gemini, again with a stellium there, with Jupiter up in there, it was like at first it was like jubilant, right? And then when he went retrograde, it's kind of like, uh-oh, I bit too much off and like, let me rethink some of this. What can I let go of? What can I restructure here because it's too much.
yeah,
It's like it's too ambitious. It's like, oh, do all the things, and you're like, yeah,
yeah.
this is so cool, and then you literally physically, mentally get tired.
Yep, that's
So
facts.
yeah, it's fact. So when does he go out of retrograde, guys?
Um, I think it's in January. I think Jupiter goes out retrograde in January.
It's almost like retracing the steps to go like, where did I fall off? And
Yeah,
then when we're moving forward again, it's like I think we're gonna get people with Gemini places. We're gonna get a little more confidence. It's like, but we're gonna be cautious still because,
yeah,
like I said, we bit off too much, and then we had to backpedal a little bit. Then
yeah,
when we go forward, we're kind of gonna know where the holes are, and we're not the mines, and we're not gonna step on those mines because we
yeah,
we know where they are.
yeah. I think that's the thing that's another reason why I knew that Trump was gonna win. Because like everybody's like, Kamala Harris she's like this perfect candidate. She's like she's way better than him and all this kind of stuff. And it's like that's how it should go based on this moral high ground. But it's like, what are the facts of how people really feel? That's kind of
Yeah, I'm gonna do a whole different reel about how dismayed I am by notable astrologers letting their emotions translate the information they were seeing in front of them in the chart and
yeah,
how it really affected me. It really made me sad, and I
yeah.
have thoughts, but that's gonna be a reel. That's
I'll
gonna
be
be
there for
real.
that one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I got pretty angry about it because I felt like it set the astrology community back a little bit.
yeah,
Not to say like
definitely.
we know what's best because we predicted it in our live.
Yeah,
We were in a live and we predicted the results because
yep.
we looked at what the facts.
Yeah, yeah. The fact was Venus is in the 12th house of the moon. It's with people. So like there's a sense of loss when it comes to feminine things. But it's like there's no way Kevin's winning if that's the case. That's
I
how
think the
that's
only thing we that surprised us was the that it wasn't as quite as close as we as
yeah.
I thought it would be
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be close
really
too.
close.
Yeah.
And then I was like, damn.
That goes back to Jupiter and Gemini again. Like that's what the media told us. The media told us it was gonna be close for what are the actual facts. You know what I'm saying? The facts is it's
Yeah,
not really that close at all.
yeah, yeah. The gist, as astrologers, to be in integrity, we have to refrain from bias and we have to look at the facts
Yeah,
and translate them without emotion. It's up here, and it's fine for me to do that because I'm composed of air, a lot of air. So it's okay for me to just really put my own opinion and perspective on the side, look at what's in front of me, translate it like a language, and try
yeah,
not to flavor it with what I think or want should
yeah.
happen.
There's so many levels
Yeah.
to it. Like astrology, you could go on learning astrology forever. Like there's so much more I want to learn.
Oh, it never ends, and that's what I like. As a Gemini sun, Sagittarius moon, I'm like, good. There's so much more to learn, and I
Yeah,
like it. It's not daunting. It's exciting to me. I
it's
love
like
it.
an art form.
New things pop up too, like
Yeah,
new areas of study. So I'm like, oh, there's no limit on this stuff. So
yeah.
that's what gets me excited.
It's an art form. It's like you can never be good enough at astrology. There's no good enough. There's no highest level. There's always another level you can
No,
look at
and
it.
if anyone says I'm the best astrologer and don't listen to anyone else. No, no, like
Yeah,
run because I believe whoever go, like I said, whoever you resonate with, me or all three, go with whoever you resonate with because whoever you have the reading with, that's what you need to hear. Even if
yep,
you go to someone else and they say something else, that doesn't matter. We see different things.
yep,
Intuitively, I know with he and I at least, intuitively, we know what needs to be said.
yep,
Because there you could spend a month on one natal chart. So we have to sort through everything and go, okay, what needs to be dug into here?
yep,
Where should we go? And that's why personally I like an anchor point. I like to say, what do you want? What's your problem? Like what are you trying to focus on? That helps
yep.
me because I could go in a million different directions if you don't give me something, you
Yeah,
know? So I mean
yeah.
I've
I
done
like bringing out the
neutral ones, but yeah, I
yeah.
like the ones.
I like bringing out the ancient, and then I bring out the modern. And I like mixing them together. Like that actually makes me think about this guy's chart that we were talking about, the astrologer. So like his looking at his Saturn in the seventh house, and his sun would be in the ninth.
Yeah.
That would be this would be a day chart, which means Saturn. Hmm, would Saturn be in a day?
Hold on.
I think it would.
Because it's squaring its midheaven
Yeah. So the descendant is that before or after the seventh house?
before.
Okay, so it's before the seventh house. That's between eighth and seventh.
Gosh, it's so hard to do this without without
Yeah,
casting
without
the
looking at
chart.
it.
Oh.
It's like if it's Saturn's in the day, that means the Saturn. If, like if you have a insect Saturn, that means it's overactive. No, that means it's no. Wait. Yeah, so day planets when they're insect they're no when they're out of sect they're too powerful. And night planets when they're insect they're I mean no, when they're out of sect they're underutilized or restricted too much.
Oh, but the that's transit though, Saturn in his seventh.
Oh, transit Saturn, yeah, yeah.
That was
Okay,
his
yeah,
transit.
I was thinking that was natal for some reason.
Um, yeah, cool. Well, I like the interactive aspect. It seems like you have to be on here for a good hour before people start, like the algorithm shows you the video. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what it
Do you
seems
have,
like. So that's cool.
do you have
So
any other
like,
questions?
yeah, any other questions about, if you know your stuff, if you want to know what's happening with your Pluto, transit Pluto, anything like that. I love when people come knowing at least, some of their chart helps instead of
Yeah,
just like, here's my birth information. You're like, oh man, I gotta plug it in. Blah. But
yeah,
these guys know their stuff, so I love that. And if there's no more questions, we will go live in December at some point to talk about 2025, what to look out for, what not to be afraid of,
yeah,
just to be aware of, what to be aware of, you know? To make it a
yeah,
really good year, to make it really impactful, and to lean into that transformation that Pluto and Aquarius be bringing.
yeah. We should bring out some like a lot of different charts throughout the year because there's a lot of major points around the eclipses.
Mhm.
Like so, there's gonna be some major things going on next year. Like I can't even imagine like fully what that's gonna look like yet.
Yeah, we don't know till we know. Like we could toss these dates out in these things, but until we look at the whole chart and it takes a while. It takes a while if you're an advanced astrologer to sit there and digest it and to really translate it. So, yeah, Brian, thank you for watching. Thanks for everyone watching. And again, if you have more questions, just comment and I'll keep an eye on this post. And I think I'll take season two because I think he might be tagged in it, maybe not. Um, and yeah, thanks for joining. And we're in for a ride. All right, guys, bye.
All right, bye.